Welcome to Brewed in Monmouth, the real estate tea with Kate and Doreen. We're here to talk homes, hometown gems, and real conversations with the entrepreneurs and locals who keep Monmouth County buzzing. I'm Kate, and as always,
I'm Doreen. Each week, we're bringing you the voices behind the businesses, the stories behind the sales, and the tea you need to hear. So grab your favorite drink, and let's get into it.
welcome to another episode of Brewed in Monmouth, the real estate tea with Kate and Doreen. We're so excited to welcome Trevor Munson today from REIDY Contracting Group, who has done amazing commercial renovation projects in Manhattan, parts of New Jersey. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. We're super excited to hear about what you have to say about the future of commercial real estate in Monmouth County, New York City, and all around.
So you've done some amazing projects, your team, the Campbell Bar in Grand Central being one of them,
Sure.
Stone Rose Lounge, my old stomping ground. Where else? The 9/11 Memorial. So what brings you to Monmouth County?
Well, Monmouth County is home for me. I think that's what's important, right? I think that a lot of excitement has always been in Monmouth County, and a lot of the sophistication of the folks that live here and the things they want to do, how they work, how they party, how they entertain, how they lay low, how they spend time with their family, all that type of stuff is really getting a lot of traction. You know, the future of work and like the present of work since COVID, like it's not so much of a work-life balance. It's really like a blur between the two. So folks really don't enjoy that commute to Manhattan or to Philly. They don't need to do that with Zoom and with Teams. So it's more about how we can bring that here and be part of that process. So for us, it's a lot of the sophistication of our process and building spaces, working with teams, understanding the needs of people, and working with them to execute the work and bring the project to life.
Who's your ideal client?
Ideal client. I think the ideal client is someone that wants to work with a team and work in a partnership, can articulate what they're looking to do, not necessarily how they're looking to do it. Someone that brings us on early, part of the vision planning process, assembles a team, the design team while they're looking for space. So someone that really just appreciates what everyone that they bring to the table brings to the table, right? Like I think someone that can listen to the advice that we have, but make decisions. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's really someone that knows what they want and can make those decisions by relying on the information that their partners bring to the table.
That's every ideal client, I think, across all.
Yeah.
all
And
spectrum.
even friends or
Wanting
anything,
to be
right?
with, Right, exactly. Wanting to be part of a partnership. Our clients today, do you think the future of working is a little bit more, I get it's remote and not building centric in the cities around you, but even across the country, do you think the upcoming generation still wants to be part of a group, still wants to be in an office? Do you think they like having that mentorship, that inspiration of working with people around them, or do you think they prefer to work a little bit more in isolation?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it depends on the generation. I think like our office specifically, our headquarters in Manhattan, on Friday, like I want to come home. I want to see my family. It's been a long week. People don't want to leave the office. Like their friends are there, you know, they hang out there together. I think there's a component of things that, you know, you can't read body language on like a Zooms meeting or
That's
a
true.
Teams meeting. Like you have to be in the room, especially in our industry, it's construction, right? Like there's a tangible product that is happening in a location, right? So it's the men and women on the job site are doing the work and we're there supporting it. So like, yes, you can facilitate a lot behind a computer, but you really need to be there. Like you need to get the intangible things that like hit you. So for us, it's the job sites and it's the office. So I think like the future of work, a lot of it still needs to be you being there, you being present. And I think the social component is strong too, right?
I think wearing a hard hat really puts you in the mood too. You know what I'm saying? If you're walking around a site and you have a hard hat on, you really feel like part of the project.
Oh, 100%. Because those are the folks that are doing the work, right?
Yeah.
Like I think like there's some stats for every like hammer swinging. There's like 17 people not in the room that touch the project, and I think that's true.
Wow.
That's important. Like construction is one of the most antiquated things that we've been building things forever in the world, but like we found a way to complicate it a lot, and like there's a lot of efficiencies that we should be picking up on, but sometimes technology does get in the way. Like it's easy to send an email or make a phone call or a text, but sometimes just showing up and walking with a person
and
It does
talking
make
it
it
through.
different. 100%.
And it certainly diffuses the
communication.
situation.
Well, you can read body language, and you can fit, like, if someone's tense at a table, it's different than, like, in their Zoom, or God forbid they don't have their video on in the Zoom. So it's being in person does make a difference. And I think a lot, like, I love it. Like, it's hard to say that I love it so much when my young family and my wife are at home, but I like both, right? And I think that for us is why you have more than one office. Like, so for us, like, why we opened an office in New Jersey, so that we can offer different locations to the staff and the talent that we're trying to attract and retain.
I think that that's amazing and awesome. And I do think that with all the technology that we have, we did for a while get away from the people to person, person to
Personal
person
touch.
contact and touch. And we're humans and we need that. And you can't lose that, because you can salvage something or make something happen when you're in the room, wherever that room might be, with the person, and you're feeling the vibe that they're giving off. You're feeling the energy that they're giving off. You can tell if they're being completely open and honest, or if they're kind of drifting. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things that we can pick up on just by being in the room with them. So that's great that even at the construction level, you're doing that.
Oh, 100%. I think part of it too, it's like not everything needs to be a scheduled meeting. So like there could be a time like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Can we grab a coffee? Right? Like there's something different with that as opposed to like, hey, like, can we get 15 minutes on the calendar? And it feels like you're defensive already.
Yeah.
Right? So I think like being able to do that, and like nowadays, like it's not just coffee. It's like, let's go for a walk. Let's sit outside. Like some folks make fun of me. Like I'll go to the gym with someone and be like, hey, let's go for a quick like spin or whatever. And I think that's pretty cool. And like to me that, and to a lot of people, that has become what work is.
Because you have something in common and you're building on that more so than just the job that you're trying to get done.
100%. You're
so
humans.
you're giving of yourself instead of just trying to take something from your client.
Yeah.
But it's also construction opportunity too, when you're thinking about like how things have changed, because that commute is killer and a lot of talented people don't want to do it. And so take it away
From permits and all that red tape?
No. Like people don't want to go into New York City. So there's a lot of opportunity here for people to live and work in Monmouth County. There's a lot of construction that will need to happen.
Well, I think it's also like for the folks, like, so some generations that worked in like that had worked pre-COVID or whatever that was in New York, you still have an expectation of like pace and restaurant and culture and all that stuff that like you want it where you live, right? And you want it a part of your life. So if you don't get that during the workday, like how does it come to you? And I think that's part of it too. It's that like, they call it like hub and spoke. Like you have like your showcase office where maybe the C-suite meets or where there's certain meetings, but like you have the ability to work at other locations or home or satellite locations or places like Bellworks, things like that.
Right.
I think is a great thing that is happening.
And these social clubs are popping up everywhere for people who, are in jobs that are really 100% remote and people are all over the country. They're craving some kind of interaction during the day.
And that's what Monmouth County is really great about, with all the mom and pop shops, if you will, whether it be the bagel stores. And there's like upscale, I don't really want to call it an upscale dining, but it is, you know what I'm saying? Like we have breakfast and lunch places that are more upscale than just your local, bodega or something in the city. So
and
that
they're conducive
you can
to
meet
sitting
there.
down.
You're conducive to sit down. You can, open up the files and kind of have a nice meeting in a nice environment anywhere in Monmouth County.
Yeah, and I think that's
we need more of them.
Oh, you 100% need more. Like what was exciting for us, like, so my wife works for herself, and Lifetime was a great thing that, having the ability to work there, to work out, to meet, to bring the kids, like it's like your life you don't need to segment it. You can work for 2 hours, you can work out for one, you can have a cocktail for another. And I think that's pretty cool. Like you walk into a place, if someone has a laptop and someone's reading a book and someone's kids on their iPad, like it doesn't matter. That's just where they're doing whatever they're doing. So things are changing. I think the way that people use space is definitely evolving, which is, I think, a great thing. Like we can celebrate like the beauty of the structure and like adapt it to how we use space now.
Right.
So tell us about your process. Do you have a design team? Like what exactly do you have?
So we partner with a lot of design teams. So I'm a trained architect actually. So I kind of have like an appreciation and respect for like how things come together and the great work that architects and engineers do. But we partner with architects and engineers with those ideal clients. And we work through basically the budget, the timeline, the expectations. the capacity of the space, the permitting. So at times we're the ones that are like, we're almost gravity for some folks. Like we're the ones that bring reality. It's like, that's a great idea, but your budget doesn't account for that, or the space doesn't allow for that, or the town won't let you do that. So I think that, by having us early, it's fun to manage those expectations early so that you can be realistic with it and ultimately deliver the vision of whatever you're doing the space for.
And the more people at the table, the more ideas you have, and the more you can come up, you eventually get to the right building that the way you want to make the building.
It's a team. Yeah.
It is a team.
Everyone comes with, everyone plays a position on that team, right? It's a team sport. We all play a position. We all want that space to be successful.
Right.
So let's do our best at doing what
and
we
we need
do.
to support each other to get there.
Yeah.
So I know you're commercial, but I've been seeing that happening a lot in the residential market too, because housing is so limited. People know where they want to live, what town, what block, whatever it might be. And I see more people buying houses just basically for the land, you know what I'm saying? And then renovating the house to make it what they couldn't find. And they're planning on staying there 15, 20 years, young families to stay with the school system and whatnot. And they have that team. They need the architect. They need the builder. They need to figure out how to make it work, residential as well as what you do, commercial-wise.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like,
Same
it's
synergy.
hard to bring it together early, I'd imagine, from client's perspective, because you need to start spending money earlier. But ultimately, you get your space quicker. You get it more predictable. There's less surprises. There's more predictability. I think it definitely makes sense in whatever world it is. It's like anything. It's like if you're planning a party, bring all the folks together at the beginning instead of like one at a time. And then all of a sudden you find out that the band that you absolutely want can't work in that space. And it's, you got to make a hard decision, right?
Yeah.
So we always thrive in those situations. Like we feel like we add value. It's like learn from our scar tissue, the mistakes that we've made with other people. Like you get that. Like when you bring us in early, like we're there. That's what you're paying for. That's what the value.
Do you have one of your favorite projects that you can mention? Or maybe one of your most challenging projects?
Sure, we're doing a.
And if you don't want to name the name, you don't have to. You could just tell
Well,
us
you
the
said earlier, like these
experience.
private spaces. We're doing a private restaurant right now that just started. It was actually a really neat. A lot of things pointed us in the direction. I serve on the board of a nonprofit, so one of my fellow board members is the architect on there. Another one of the architects did a previous project, so we're doing this private restaurant club in Lower Manhattan, and they're turning this empty, defunct space into a 2-story restaurant with like an outdoor pavilion and restaurant.
Wow.
Pretty exclusive, and just tremendously high-end finished details, a French designer, a local architect. And it's been a challenge everywhere from the permitting and the accessibility of the space to budget to finding really the right vendors that meet like the quality, the schedule, the budget. So that's just starting in construction for us. We're excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
There will be challenges throughout, but I think the client did the right thing of bringing the whole team together,
Early on.
bringing folks together that knew how to work with one another. Like we have a rapport with one another. So the fact that David in this case and I have a relationship together, like we're both going to be successful on it. Like we're going to, and the client will be too. So and restaurants are
Tough.
they're very hard. Yeah.
Yeah. People are spending a lot of money, and it's a very risky proposition, really.
And they keep turning, right? So like obviously the turn, like people need more space or less space, and restaurants go from this restaurant to that. So that's good for our business. They're always changing, but it's funny how the trends change a little bit too. Like how much front of house versus how much back of house. Like how do they cook? What do they cook with? Like how many private spaces versus open dining versus bar space. So it's pretty interesting to see how things change in a short amount of time.
And how to make yourself stand out among so many, especially in a city like Manhattan.
Well, even
there's
here in
just-
Monmouth County, it's just, like we have so many great options of restaurants, and there's a lot of folks that have flags in both. And I think like for me, it's like when I go out with my family to eat, it's you expect the service and the quality you get in Manhattan. Same here, you know.
And there are a lot of restaurants, you're right, that we can get it here.
And
There's a
lately,
lot of
we're getting
fantastic-
some Manhattan pricing, too.
Yes.
That's the downside of it, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Just the price of food in general has gone
yeah.
up. It's insane.
But you mentioned permitting. So if you're
Yeah.
one great plug for you is if you're used to New York City red tape,
Yeah.
Monmouth County must look like a breeze.
It's different. It's definitely, I'd say it's a breeze. What's nice about it is you can go and see people. You can meet people.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a process. It's not like a workflow on the internet, right? It's more someone that you can go and have a relationship with, understand their process, talk to them. And I think that's just how we kind of do, that's how I do business, and that's how we do business. It's like, go have a relationship, understand, like, are they going away for vacation for 2 weeks? And like, you work around that, right? And you learn to have that rapport. And there's, I think, mutual respect. So I wouldn't say it's a breeze. It's definitely different. I think it's nice. It's a nice change of pace to be able to talk to a person.
I
or a team of
completely
people.
agree. And I just did business in a town I never did business in before. And that's exactly what I did. I went down to that town hall, introduced myself, said hello, and tried to put a face with the name with the people that I had to deal with and say, how do you work it here?
Right,
You know, this is
yeah.
what I'm used to, but how do you do it here? Because in our area, every town really is run differently. I'm not sure if New York City is all kind of run the same way or if segments
The
are
boroughs,
different.
Yeah.
But it always comes down to relationships. No matter what it is you're doing, it always comes down to relationships.
Well, and I think that's what's comforting for me, like being home, like going into the towns and the local department of buildings down here. It's like, I feel like I'm at home, and it's like I identify more with these folks than like when I'm dealing with like the bureaucracy of in New York City. So it's
Right,
definitely, but I think once you go in, it's like we all have jobs. And at the end of the day, they want to come and, inspect the job site that is easy. And I want them to pass our inspections. So we all want the same thing.
Right.
It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, well, so in New Jersey and Monmouth and Ocean County,
Yeah.
is there anything you can talk about that's new and upcoming here?
Sure. So what brought us here initially, we do a lot of work with a couple financial institutions. So I think with that work trend shift of people needing to go and work in Manhattan to the outer boroughs, we've done a few spaces down here in Monmouth County. We've been pursuing a lot of space near Fort Monmouth, right? A great investment with Netflix and just some associated, and surrounding properties. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in the sectors where we thrive. So a lot of the hospitality, hotels and restaurants, I think like with all the folks that are going to be here and live here, they demand that type of stuff. So a lot of the restaurants and those folks that we have relationships with are starting to look at spaces here. And that's what has brought us here to be able to hopefully support them when they build out their spaces.
You also do a lot of hospitality, right? Like hotels.
Yeah.
That's the one concern I have with Netflix is that are all these people going to go? We don't have a lot of short-term housing.
No?
So,
No, do we have a lot of good hotels?
There's some exciting. There's an exciting hotel that's going. I think it's called Allison Hall over at Netflix.
Yes, yeah.
But that's a boutique one. It's not.
And it's boutique and it's
like
small.
45 rooms. I think
it's like 50
Yes.
keys. Yeah,
50. Yeah. Okay.
But they need a lot more, and I think even short-term housing, like you said. So you solve one problem by like bringing an institution like Netflix here, and then you have all these other opportunities, right? And I think there's a lot of like we were looking at a hotel in Neptune actually, and just some of the performers and the money needs to make sense. So it's like building a certain way. Again, you go back to that Manhattan pricing on food. It becomes the same with like even hotels. Like you can't really charge the same because it's not here yet. So in order to get the performers and get the flag and get like the brand and all that stuff off the ground, things need to make sense. And I think we're a little bit in the middle of like in between right now to see if things make sense or not.
Yeah.
But I think it will definitely eventually come. I'm excited for it as a resident and as, having our business here, but we will need a lot of the housing, I think, is going to be a big thing.
Oh, I'm super excited for it too. But my one worry, not to be negative, is just the price of everything is going to go up. I think like the restaurants are going to be more expensive. The housing is going to continue to increase.
Reservations are going to be hard enough to get.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
going to be
And
harder
then
to get.
where do people go? Like where
Yeah.
are people? It's going to be interesting.
Well, it's a big imposition even on infrastructure too, like just
Totally.
the roads and the traffic and the electric power grid. Like there's a lot that has to be thought out. I mean, like the tough part about like where we live, just the New York metropolitan region and New Jersey, there's aging infrastructure, right? Like I've had like my commute into Manhattan, like it's been miserable for the past month when they're doing the Portal Bridge. So it's like,
Yeah, I'm always wondering, why is the tunnel leaking? It just kind of worries me a little bit. Like, why is there always water on the car when we come out of this tunnel? But, that's the other thing, too. I think we don't know yet if there's going to be more people here on the Jersey side or if there's going to be more black SUVs coming through the tunnel onto the Jersey side and going back and forth. Only time will tell how they become comfortable with that. And hopefully if we build it and it's to the standards that they're expecting it to be. They will stay on this side. Because yes, as much as it does maybe raise the prices of our bagels, it's given that bagel owner all this extra business to be had.
Totally.
So, it's a little bit of a give and take that we all have to be willing to accept for the change. But I think this is definitely a change for the better.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. And I think like it'll take time. It'll be the first shock, and then over time it'll start to change, whether they stay here long term, short term, whether they're just getting their food here. Hopefully they're not, catering from outside of here. But I definitely think that idea of like the Manhattan pricing being a thing, I think that's kind of going to go away. It's just going to be
The same.
Yeah, that's what it costs.
Did you grow up in Monmouth County?
I didn't. No, I grew up in New York State.
Okay.
And then was just driving through and said, "This looks nice," and here's where I'm raising my family.
That's where the car broke down.
Yeah, exactly. More or less. Yeah, could be worse places, but yeah, very lucky. So
Just thinking of Fort Monmouth, though. Remember the traffic at Fort Monmouth back when it was all? And there was traffic, a lot of it. So when everybody came in at 9, everybody left at 4.
yeah,
But it was the same thing when Bell Labs was Bell Labs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had graduated timing. You either worked from, 7 to 3, 8 to 4, or 9 to 5, or 10 to 6, or something like that. Because the traffic on those roads getting to and from the Parkway was insane.
Yeah.
It was a standstill. And as much as they tried to get those, I think, 6,000 people at a time in and out through, staged work shifts, it was hard. But I don't know, we made it through then. What was that, 40 years ago?
but I think that's what's like now. It's like there's traffic kind of like spread out even 7 days a week at all times there, and I think that's like hopefully with something like a Netflix or what, like it'll be not the 9 to 5 traffic, right, or the school bus traffic type.
No,
stuff.
I have feeling it's going to be the reverse. I have feeling it's going to be more
probably
like
right,
the nighttime traffic. Like it's going to be 5. They, a lot of those people work nighttime.
It's true. Yeah.
Because they're in big studios with big lights. And, it's all make believe anyway, so they can work those hours.
So what town are you in now?
I live in Cold Snacks. We bought a great fixer upper, and then we opened our office in Red Bank. So definitely, Monmouth County now. My 2 little boys know nothing other than Monmouth County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you go into the city 5 days a week or?
5 days a week, and being on the GC or office side of construction, like construction's like 7 to 3:30, right? But when you're in the office, like you got to be there before and after. So they're a lot of like entertaining. So they're very long days. It's a lot of commute. I think every year I make a New Year's resolution that my 20 hours of a train of the week, I'll learn like a different language, and I think I just fall
But you're
asleep every
exhausted
time.
at the end. Yeah.
It just beat, It's like my wife thinks it's like this like glorious retreat that I have. It's like you're on the train. I'm like, oh, if only you knew.
And if only it was reliable.
Reliable is just, right. That you
Yeah.
can just use that as like an escape and read a book or do something. But you're probably caught up, catching up on emails.
You're
or
lucky if
something
you get
on
a
your
seat
phone
sometimes,
or-
right? I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. It's like, at a time I was like, I became a full-on laptop user. Now I'm like, I go with the expectation of being able to use a laptop, and I can't find a seat,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's
What train? Where do you get on?
So I take it from Mattawan, right? So I drive to Mattawan and take it just because it's a little bit closer.
Yes.
But it's still an hour and 10 minutes, which
Yeah.
that's the nice part of the commute, the train. It's just everything else.
Yeah.
Waiting in Penn Station. But
Yeah.
but listen, I think like what I tell people that, when they come, it's like you choose where you work and where you live. And I think like for me,
That is a choice.
like my wife and I met in Manhattan, and that was a big part of our life. And then we started a family. Like this is where we wanted to raise them. And I still want to be a part of Manhattan. Like I think now with us opening the New Jersey office, it was a little self-serving. So hopefully I can spend a little bit more time here.
Yeah.
But still have Manhattan.
Because it'll be nice as your kids get older if you want to coach or go
Yeah.
to their games or whatever. I'm assuming they're
100%.
young.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to have that balance if you can.
Right.
And hopefully you could do that when you're closer in the Red Bank office.
And there's been something even like the couple days a week that I'll spend in Red Bank. I think like you feel like more of a citizen when you're here during the weekday. It's like a weird thing. Like I felt guilty the other day. It was like lunchtime, and I remember I was like, all right, let me go get. And I almost felt like guilty, like I should have brought my lunch. Like I can't just walk out and get lunch because I'm like home on like a Wednesday. But it's definitely, it feels nice. You feel like more committed to the community in a weird
Rather
way.
than just a bedroom. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And like I'm glad that my wife and kids and friends and whatnot see more than this. So it's nice to kind of invest. And I think like even attracting talent, because there's got to be other people that want the same. Like for us, like
Oh, yeah.
people that work in Manhattan, like very few people live in Manhattan, right? Like especially for us, like maybe you have some Brooklyn, Queens, but you have Long Island, Westchester, New Jersey, and it's
That could be from Brooklyn, can actually be just as bad as Monmouth County. Parts of Brooklyn.
oh yeah,
Brooklyn's huge. It's far, some
it is.
things.
Yeah, and the commute can be is unreliable too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like whenever we had a tough winter, but like a lot of these snowstorms, you're trying to think like where's everyone coming from, how do they come in, and it's like but a lot of the city stuff is just as bad.
Yeah. So how is construction changing on the high end, like with social media and all the marketing dollars that people are putting in? Have you seen it? I know in the luxury space, that's always been a budget for that, but are things changing in that area?
I think when folks invest in the spaces that they want to build, like they do think about those moments, like those Instagram moments and those types of things. So a lot of it's like front of house, like look at a restaurant. A lot of it's like the front of house stuff, but I think like for the front of house to work, the back house needs to function very well. Like you need to get your food and your service needs to be good and it needs to taste great, but it also has to like
Have a good layout.
have a good layout and like withstand time. I think it's like a lot of these places can't be like after a year they look like crap because they weren't built to withstand like carts being pushed or whatever. So I think that people are focused on those moments, but like true operators and true like visionaries, I think get that and they'll spend the time and money on that. They're not just rushing to get open for those moments. It's more for like the lifespan of their product or their restaurant or whatever that is.
Well, that's like everything in life,
Yeah.
The more you put into it, the longer run you have with it.
Right.
Nothing lasts forever, but the longer term vision that you have makes the investment. Just like your house, you said you're renovating your house, right? So if you plan to be there for the school lifetime of your children,
Right.
do it the way you want to do it.
100%.
Save and wait until you can afford the stove or the furniture or whatever it is that it is you're looking for, because that's really important.
Yeah, and I think it's like you got to be realistic with your budget. You need to have one, your timeline, and I think like you need to make decisions on purpose, right? So if you need to get in by, we do a lot of work for like the hotels, right? In New York, they have the UN General Assembly that's in the fall every year. So like things need to open by then, right? And I think what has changed for us is we'll say like maybe you do like phases, right? So like maybe like what do you need to open by then? Instead of rushing to get it all
The whole
done,
thing.
what do you have to do? And then we'll come back once they're gone. And I think like that's brought some, it's tough with planning resources on my end because what happens is like our folks that they like we call them superintendents on a job site, they'll love our superintendent. And then there's like a month or two downtime and then they want the same person back. But I can't really charge them for the month or two they're not working there. So I think that's where, for me, the way you solve it is like you have a bunch of great folks that they'll love them all. But that phase thing I think is a lot more prevalent now in the way that they do work. Like folks are taking longer to like sign leases, but the minute they sign up, they're like ready to go and they need to open right away. And I think that's some things that are same with restaurants. Once they finally get it, they need to start making money.
Yeah, patience is still a virtue.
Yes.
How do you find the workforce, the people that are coming for the jobs? Are they well trained? Do you feel like the trade schools still have a large enough graduating classes that they can start at whatever? I mean, not everybody can be the architect, right? We still need the painter and the plumbers and the electricians. They're just as important in a way
100%.
as the architect. So are you finding that the good quality of those trained?
I think it's getting better. I think so. A lot of the work that we do is some is union, some is non-union, right? I think that there's a lot more non-union projects that are happening, and I think they're sophisticated by offering like good benefits to the employees that work there. They're protecting them, right? And I think with technology, because listen, if you do so much physical labor, you can't do it forever. Like your body just can't handle it. And I think with technology and with things like that, like their skill set and the knowledge they learn allows them to kind of take a different part of the career, but still like using that, but not physically working. So I think now with like a lot of the AI and technology, a lot of parents are kind of pushing their kids more towards the trades and the blue collar and stuff like that. So you are definitely seeing a lot more folks that are capable and willing to work. I think they have some of the qualities of the generations that like, they need to focus, they need to, commit to doing the work. And I think that's something that, we struggle with, but it's creating an environment, outlining the expectations. Here's what you're supposed to do. Like for our staff, it's here's how many projects you're on. For the men and women on the job site, it's here's how much you should install on a day. You give them the metrics and they can kind of figure it out.
Right.
And
even with the restaurants, with their, front end of house and
Right.
back end of house employees. That's really important too. And I don't know, some of them are long-term jobs. Some of them can, wear you out really
Yeah.
fast, right? Whether it's being a cook or a bartender, there's only so much, you can do, I think, as you get older.
We've been pretty good at, like, once folks kind of hit, like, if they start right out of high school in the trades, like, we've been getting a lot of carpenters, for example. They join the union after 20 years. They hit about like 40 years old. They're ready to come be like a superintendent so like we like being a mid-sized firm, like we're not as, listen, we set our own rules. You don't need certain like college degrees. We're very flexible. It's the people. So I think it's like if you're presentable and ambitious and have a great work ethic, like if you have a good story, whatever that is, come join the team. So we've hired and been very successful with a lot of folks that have come from the trades, have come from overseas. Pat and Lorraine Reedy, who founded us, are two Irish folks that came and kind of made it. So I think that's something that like we look to give back, and bring these folks and give them a shot, and they work
That's
hard.
great.
Yeah, and
That's really
they
great.
have the work ethic.
Yeah,
That's what matters. Anybody can be trained if they want to be trained.
totally.
Yeah.
What kind of construction costs are you looking at now? Like, have they stabilized a bit?
They are. I think like with uncertainty, I think that's the tough part in general, whether it's tariffs or timing or just the world. And I think that the uncertainty, like we drill down into, like, so we subcontract everything out, right? So if someone says, oh, like, I don't know with tariffs. And like, if you ask specific questions, like, and like, well, what is it? Like, what exactly are you bringing in? Or what is the lead time concern? Like, is it a part of the part? So I think that like, if you hold people accountable for like having the information, not just using the buzzwords, like you take some of that uncertainty out, but like you need to get into it to do that. So I think face value, if someone says, what's the cost? They're going to say, oh, it's higher. And it definitely is with inflation and whatnot. But I think the uncertainty is what makes it even higher. But I think you can take some of the uncertainty out by bringing folks on early or asking some of the questions.
The reason I ask is just like in the residential world, for like a little cape now in Fairhaven, they're getting like $1,000 a foot.
Yeah.
It is
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me as a professional who lives this day in, day out to really advise people to pay $1,000 a foot for a Cape Cod that needs work.
Yeah.
So the building costs are just going up to get like that pristine home.
Yeah.
No one can afford that anymore.
Yeah.
At least, a lot of clients I work with. So I can't imagine Manhattan a high-end luxury restaurant where you're
Well, it's the same thing.
charging a foot now.
I think what you were saying before, it's like people are taking other office space. So when people have like a lot of square footage and they need less or subleasing space, I think that's where like you're trading and you're kind of like reusing a lot of what someone else did. We just did a lot of work for a big bank, and they took 2 floors of another bank and they put their own standards into it, right? So like it wouldn't have been exactly how they would have done it, but they did it for, a much better price. So I think that's the way, like reusing and like readapting stuff, I think is more of the trend to combat against starting from scratch, because you're right. Like, I don't think it's achievable anymore.
No.
I think it's just outside of it, especially like some of these companies that we like more on the office space side, someone that's having their first company, it's hard to make that big of an investment if the concessions aren't coming from the landlord the same. So
It's crazy. Like, I think, once again, just because we're residential in and out, my parents built a house in 1992. It was a $250,000 house. It was really nice house.
yeah.
Now, fast forward 20 years, or well, now 30 years now, it's 10 times that. Come on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, it's just going to be interesting how people adapt. I do a little bit of commercial mom and pop real estate too, and the build outs have gotten so expensive. It's just everything is.
Well, I think it's the cost of that, and I think there's also like a generational in like the trades and in construction. Like, there's a lot of folks that 08, 09, like that recession, like really hurt some people that kind of hung on to their businesses. So like a lot of the subcontracting community is like still like at flux. Like, there's a lot of folks that like want to leave but really can't because no one wants to buy them. A lot of venture capitalists are buying the subcontracting. So like there's a lot of turbulence at that level of that, and they set the prices. It's your electricians, your painters, your carpenters, all those folks. And like sometimes you're like, how does this cost so much? And like everyone's saying the same things. You're like, I guess it must.
Right.
But has it changed? I don't know.
I think that we have to get out of the habit of looking back at what
it's so
was.
hard.
Sure.
We have to just say, this is where we're at.
Right.
This is where we're moving. We're moving forward. It is what it is. We're never going back. Just like I'm not going to be 25 years old again. I mean, we're not going backwards. And you just have to take where you're at with whatever it is you want to build or create. residential or commercial,
Yeah.
and just believe in it, and and it somehow or another it'll
true.
all work out. You have to
I
stop.
mean, it would be
trying
like
to
a devastating
compare.
economic event that would make it go back. So we don't want
Oh my
that.
God, no, it would be awful. It
be
would
horrible.
absolutely be awful. If we wind up in any town with the inventory we had in 2018, your $1,000 a square foot would be back down to $450 or something.
But I think you're right. I think it's kind of like, getting like things you can't change, like a location,
can't
like a
change
house,
it.
and then adding on to it as your life evolves or grows or whatever. And I think that's like, you have to look at it differently versus like, well, this will be my starter home. And then that, like, maybe it just changes the way you start things.
Because the house or the building can change, right?
Right.
You can take a medical building and somehow or another,
Correct.
morph it into a restaurant if need
Right.
be. But if the location is right, it'll work.
Right.
Just like with residential. That Cape might one day become a Center Hall, to a level
Colonial, yeah.
colonial, if the property in the block can handle it. So that's the most important decision, commercial or residential. I think that we have to be guiding our clients on making. The rest can come in time. Like you said, it could come in phases, just like houses can come in phases. Which is why we probably still walk into houses that are 90% renovated except for the master bathroom, because it's always the last room to
It's
be
the first
done.
thing to get done, yeah.
They do all the other showrooms first, but it becomes a priority.
Yeah.
And then as you get busier in life, or as the restaurant might get busier, or the office space might
Yeah.
get busier, things kind of fall off the priority list, and you just figure out.
And
how
in
to
the
make it
larger
all work.
ecosystem, it's like you consider, like, should I do this work? And there's another restaurant considering the same thing. So it's like you almost take that and then someone takes yours. And there's like I think there's a constant like exchange of things, right? I think like, and that's tied to like mortgage rates and whatnot. It's hard to do that if like you're sacrificing like a good rate for something that's different. But that happens a lot in even the commercial space in restaurants.
Sure.
What is your bread and butter? Is it mostly commercial, corporate, or is it restaurants or hotels?
So it started as
portfolio.
as primarily corporate work and TI, like tenant improvement work that we did a lot for landlords. That has kind of since changed with the amenity space and all that took us into hospitality. So I think just from like an excitement standpoint, our staff likes those other types of projects that are you can get passion behind them. Our bread and butter still is that corporate work. It's like a volume-based business. It's still there. You can get efficiencies by doing multiple projects in one building and things like that. It's a little bit more predictable from like a resource and time standpoint. But the balance is nice. And I think even that's why part of the reason we're in New Jersey is just the geographic diversification,
Yeah.
right? It's smart for us. There are sectors so we've gotten in the higher ed. And I think things like that have not only allowed it to be good for the business, but even the staff. It's hard to cultivate a staff member and grow them in their careers. And then they say they want to do XYZ type of project and you don't offer it. So we're trying to kind of hedge against that so that as we grow, we have a very young staff. Like we grow our staff and they can start to experiment with different types of projects and maybe they'll be very successful in something that we don't do yet.
Right.
So that's ultimately what happens.
It's very
for us.
smart.
If you had one piece of advice to give to our listeners, whether it be as a business owner or someone looking to start a business that would become a client of yours, what would it be?
I think it's to stop and pause and like really think and be intentional with it. I think it's like to make sure you're not reacting off of something good or bad that's happening in your life, and like pause for a second and understand, like, do I want this? Do I need it? Is it now? Right. And so I think it's a matter of being very intentional with your steps, and being conscious with it and being realistic. So I think it's like, everything from the phases. So it's being a little bit not too predictable or methodical, but more so just being real with yourself and like outlining that.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think intentional is going to be the word of 2026.
That was my word of 2026.
Was it?
Intentional, yes.
How you doing with it so far?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It was actually about spending
Intentionally
money,
good?
everything
Yeah.
intentionally, not all these accidental expenditures.
Oh,
And I've gotten much better at it, actually.
But it's a balance between like
midnight
feeling good
buying.
about yourself and then like really beating yourself
well, also
up,
in my
right?
business, like had some clients that I was,
Yeah.
just difficult ones. I'm like, am I intentionally working with them?
Get the line, yeah.
That's
But you put up your boundaries, and when you hold to them, like you feel good about yourself.
yeah,
Like,
and then it all
reaffirms
comes. You kind of
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Yeah.
And you learn that you can pick and choose. It's your life. Like you control what you can control. You can't control everything, but there are some things that you can control.
Yeah.
And that's what you intentionally control. Yes.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much for
great.
coming
Awesome.
on.
Thank you
It
for
was so
having
nice
me,
to
guys.
meet you.
Of course, you too.
We're so
So
excited to
nice.
see what you built here in Monmouth County.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let us know when new buildings are
Oh, you'll
done and
see
the
it.
restaurants
Come back on.
are
You
done.
see it, yeah.
Yes. That'll be great. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.